Welcome to the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. I'm your host, founder of Voices for Voices, Justin Allen Hayes. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode and helping us get to over 300 total episodes in studio and out of studio. We have the goal of reaching 300 total combined episodes in studio and out of studio by the end of 2025, and we actually accomplished that 5 months early. And I just want to relate that sometimes when you set a goal, sometimes we achieve it right at the time that we need it, the very minute, the very hour, the very day. Sometimes we're a little bit late, and sometimes we're able to modify that, but sometimes we're not. And then others, like in this instance, where we really we just like almost like turned on like kind of the afterburners, and we made it, and it's only because of you that you're watching, you're listening, that we're helping people, and that's what makes me happy. We just strive to do that as an organization, and me as an individual, a human, just like you. We're not robots. We're individuals. We have feelings. We have thoughts. We have concerns. We have health. We have physical health, mental health, and that. But what I wanted to talk about on this particular episode is, if you didn't join us on episode 300, or you haven't made it to that yet, if you're starting, from the beginning and working your way up, episode 1 all the way up, or if you're just picking and choosing, whatever way you do that, that is completely fine with us. But in case word didn't get out with some of the developments and the growth that's going on and going to be going on here, we want to just cover some of that information. Some of it still we can't reveal, and I'll get into that and why. So Voices for Voices, we are opening our own, I'll say our own, because it's called Voices for Voices, our own publishing house. And so what that means is that we will be very shortly publishing authors' work under the Voices for Voices publishing moniker. And so if you missed it on episode 300, just wanted to share. So I can't show some of this at the bottom, but that's what, so we have, kind of the logo. It's very, very similar, right? Voices for Voices, and then publishing. And so this covers really any type of a story, whether it's a novella, which is kind of like a shorter story, whether it's softback, paperback, picture book, sticker book, short stories, long stories, traditional, paperback, or softback, like these two that we have, or if it's digital as well, or if it's audio. Audible has that. So that is something that we announced on episode 300, and while we're able to announce that and share that and this information on this particular show, we're not able to share because of the element of surprise. We're not able to share what the names of the first couple works that we have that are in basically ready to be published. So Voices for Voices Publishing, you'll be able to find that. We're going to be building out a website, so everything under Voices for Voices Publishing will be there. But starting out will be you'll be able to find us under Voices for Voices Publishing on Amazon, and then we're working on getting those into audio, and so publishing it's a growth area for us, because we have, through past guests, future guests, just interactions we've had, this came as an idea, and so we had to think about it, right? Because this is, our logo, our imprint's going to be on, all these books, and I also want to say that the books that and the works that we do publish under Voices for Voices Publishing are going to be cleaner. They're going to be very distinct for if a book is actually for a certain age group, that it's going to meet those requirements, because we've found, and maybe you have found too, where you go to a certain section looking for books for a certain age group. You purchase it, and maybe it's language, maybe it is some of the actions that are happening that may not quite be appropriate for an individual. Let's say they're 8 years old, 7 years old, 9 years old. There's certain content that they're not ready for in general, and so we're taking that approach of, if you're going to publish under us, which I and our organization, we have the final say of who gets published, who doesn't, what stories get published, which don't. So that's kind of let's say that's a phase one expansion that we're going to be doing. So by the time we are airing this particular episode, you may already be, or may soon learning what those works are, what those first works are, that we're going to have under Voices for Voices Publishing. So publishing is one area. Writing, right? We talked about that. That can be a way of sharing your voice, or my voice, anybody's voice. And another way that we can share our voice, our collective voices, is through, we talk about movies, TV shows, and on, basically on screen types of work. And so we thought that it was important to, while publishing, right, because you have to write the script and all these different things to get to the point where, if we're going to turn, let's say, a novel into a movie or a TV show, and work with an organization that's going to help make that happen, and go through with it, and is on board, and you have the cast, right? We talked about the actors, actresses in an older episode, and so shared that. So there's just a lot that goes into going from a written work, which is the publishing, to what we are calling Voices for Voices production. And so that this will and is covering those types of things. We're talking about, whether it's a TV show, whether it's a movie, whether it's a pilot. The pilot comes first, and then there's either buy-in from the network or a streaming platform, or there's not. If there is, then okay, how many episodes, how many seasons? If it's a movie, how long is it, or who's in it, who's not, where, what are the locations, and all that. So we thought it was important because I'll say opportunities are there for us as Voices for Voices to, again, be able to express and share the voices. And it's not going to, most of these aren't going to be me that you're going to be hearing and watching. It's going to be actors and actresses that you're going to be watching and hearing. And so some of the publishing works, books, novels, will be converted into a potential TV show, a potential movie, potential series. And so we wanted to have that covered as well, because while the production elements, like, set locations, it could be based off of a long story, a short story, a novella, actors, actresses, and there's a host of information that it's in here. But what I wanted to do today was just kind of do like the recap of, just so you have an idea in case you missed episode 300, where we go into a little bit of depth like this that we're doing today on this particular episode. And it's big enough that we want to cover it twice, essentially, that we want to make sure that the information is out there and available. So we have Voices for Voices Publishing, Voices for Voices Production, and let's see, I'm going to take a minute to grab a little sip, or a big gulp. Yeah. The next area came about because of a current situation that's happening with at least one artist, like somebody who sings and dances and performs. And we, through a guest that we've had on multiple times, we know he watches and or listens to our Voices for Voices shows. We did an episode on his recent album drop, Swag. Somebody who has and we're pretty sure, we think that he not only has been human trafficked, but is currently, and who is, I say by all intents and purposes, kind of in hiding. And so that's Justin Bieber. And it's really just incredible. So not only that he's watching and listening, but it's a legit connection. It's not, sometimes people try to drop names and oh, I know so and so, or I'm gonna have them on a show or do different things. But having actually experienced communications with him, and him really kind of directing the episode that we did. I don't know if it's in the two. So we have over 300 episodes. So I don't remember if it was in the 280s or the 290s. But we did an episode when his album dropped. And so what's the significance to that? Well, traditionally, an artist, would sign a deal with a record label. The record label would market would help them find songs, either ones that they've written or ones that somebody else has written, and then they record the songs, and then they put them on an album, and then they launch it, they sell it, they go on tour, and then they rinse and repeat those particular actions. And so Justin, he's in hiding. He has been trafficked, so this isn't anything that is new. We covered it in that episode on the album drop of Swag, and he's fearful, like a lot of people are, with their lives, because say evidence, but information that we've been made aware of supports that, and so we support Justin, whether he's a celebrity, whether he's not, whether he has, I don't know how many millions of followers or not. He's still a human being, and his livelihood is music. And so part of what's going on and why this is important is that Swag was the first album of his that circumvented the record label, which basically means that he dropped the album, and the money goes directly to his bank account, Justin's bank account. What's happened since that drop of Swag is there are people who are interfering. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by interfering? And, well, okay, so person has a bank account. Person does work. Person gets paid for the work. Money gets paid to the person. Person is able to pay the bills and do what they want with that money. There are people who are, to this very day, intervening, and I don't know how, we don't know how, but it's happening, that they are circumventing, or not circumventing, it's not the right word, but these individuals are somehow gaining access to his bank accounts, and so Justin has a second album was supposed to drop a week and a half ago, and it's going to, but because he doesn't, trust the record label because of what he's gone through trafficking wise, what he has and what he is going through, it's not. Obviously, we know some things in the media are true, some of them may be a little bit less true. What's really going on is he has work that he wants to put out, but he can't because he's afraid, like I would be afraid, that I put work out, people are interested, they purchase it, and the money is supposed to come to an account of mine, but in this case, Justin's, the other Justin, and there's individuals, again, they're toying around, and so what his bank account, so what Justin instinctively is doing is trying to go through banks and open accounts and not let people that are trying to interfere now, trying to have an account where he actually has the access, where nobody else can do that. And so that's really one of the dangerous parts of human trafficking is if somebody escapes and gets away from human trafficking, or if they're still in it, it doesn't stop the emotional toll. And so there's an emotional toll that's wearing on Justin, it's wearing on anybody that's been around somebody who has unfortunately experienced and is experiencing this. So Justin is trying to drop his second album. He wants to drop it. He should have dropped it a couple weeks ago, as I mentioned. And we're in full support of Justin. Any survivor that's legitimate, who's been through awful things. We want to be that voice for them, that they can share their voice in some way through Voices for Voices, and so that is the long the long lead into what we're also going to be doing. This is more of a preparatory. We don't have something locked and loaded like we do with production and publishing, as far as we have projects that are done, very close to being done, in process, right? Production, you have to, again, you have to find the actors, actresses. You got to have the script. It's got to be approved. There's got to be travel. There's catering. There's all these. There's special effects. All these things that I'm just learning myself. But getting back to music, music primarily, because we have the other part also covered in a different area. And so we're also have started Voices for Voices Records. And the hope here is, and the thoughts are, that if somebody finds themselves in the position like Justin Bieber is in now, not just being concerned about his personal safety and the safety of his son. I'm not going to comment on Haley or any of that. Well, I may or may not have some information about that. That's not something that we're going to comment publicly on. But yeah, so Voices for Voices Records is now there or here, wherever, to support individuals who, if they've gone through something, if they've had a hard time with a record label, if they haven't found a record label, we're going to, whether it's somebody who's just starting their career, we're gonna help launch that, launch their music, do as much as we can to help support. So the individuals who are actually doing the work, like in the case we mentioned, Justin, that they get compensated, and they shouldn't have to worry if somebody's going into their bank account and getting access and impersonating him or me or anybody. But that's occurring. That's real life. That's not something that's happening somewhere far, far away from where we are. So wherever you live, wherever I live, these things, unfortunately, to different degrees, different timings, go on. And we want to be, again, singing is a way to share your voice. Playing an instrument is also a way to share your voice. And so that's where Voices for Voices Records is. And then we also have, I'm going to try to do these kind of quick because time is really getting out. So with all that, we're also have launched Voices for Voices Entertainment, and this includes and will include any memorabilia, any whether it's Legos, whether action figures of the characters that are in our publishing stories, or in production of content. And so those action figures, Legos, whatever those may be, will be able to be covered as an organization to be able to support when those moments come. So that's Voices for Voices Entertainment. And last but not least, we have Voices for Voices Parks and Real Estate. So again, these are big things that are happening. And so what's Voices for Voices Parks and Real Estate look like? One of our past guests, Sandy, one of the things she wants to do, that she has a big goal, she'd like to someday open an amusement park that's on point with the kind of the characters, the stories, the plots that are included in these cleaner stories that she'd be able to pick and say, oh, we want to ride based off of this character or this movie or this book, and we want to character, and so we want to be ready if and when that does happen. Secondly, we've talked from the beginning, Voices for Voices, another one of our big goals is to either build or move into an existing building where we can offer free, no questions asked, no insurance required, mental health care for everybody. Anybody that shows up, we want to be the mental health equivalent to St. Jude's, as St. Jude's works to cure childhood cancer and treat and help and the families might not live in that area, so they'd have to travel. Planes, trains, automobiles, buses. They have to have somewhere to stay because a lot of times, the treatments might take days or weeks or longer, and so, like St. Jude's does, we want to do the same thing. So regardless of where the facility, we want to have multiple facilities, but starting with one, we want to have a facility where if somebody is from out of state, that they don't, again, not only don't they have to worry about the cost of the mental health care and those related services, they don't have to worry about paying for their travel, for their room and board, or their food. Because again, we want people to to feel valued the way that all of us as human beings are. So we have a lot of announcements. A lot of stuff's going on. You're going to be hearing the actual names of some of these projects very soon. So thank you for being with us. Please like, subscribe, share, all that. We'll see you next time.